students, my name is Brooke. I'm the program manager here at Academy for Dental Assistants, and in this video I'm going to go ahead and kind of dive into all of the information that you need in order to be successful in this program, such as the breakdown of the course, the homeworks, where you can find things on our website, and pretty much just a general overview of everything that you'll need to know before your first day of class. The 12-week program is offered in a blended hybrid format, and it's also an accelerated program. That accelerated program means that it's going to be a little bit more fast-paced. The workload is going to be a little bit heavier, but that's just so that way we can really get you this information that you need that's most important to be a dental assistant quickly, so that way you understand the material, you know it, and you will be successful getting a job, and it puts you in that workplace faster. The blended hybrid format is best for students who are disciplined and very structured. That's because it is a bigger workload, like I stated, so you really need to make sure that your time management skills are up to par, because it is going to take a lot of discipline in order to complete the work that is required of you. You really want students to be successful and understand this information. So the 1 to 2 days per week that you come here in class, whichever you registered for, is going to be the hands-on portion of the program. The lecturing portion is going to be done at home around your own schedule, which includes reading the textbook chapters that are assigned each week, completing homework assignments, watching YouTube and Evolve videos, things like that. That 8 to 10 hours is very important that students complete each week before they come in, because if they don't, they're not going to understand the material that we're reviewing in class. If you look at your course outline, which I will discuss here in a couple of minutes, that course outline is going to break down everything that you need to review each week before you come to class. That is what you complete in those 8 to 10 hours each week. Once again, if you're not completing that work, when you come into class and we start talking about it, asking questions, getting hands-on with it, you're not going to understand it because you didn't focus on those time management skills and be disciplined in order to complete that stuff before you come in. This is a higher education learning. What I mean by that is that it's not, elementary school, middle school, high school. This is somewhat of a college. So you have to make sure that you are disciplining yourself, and maybe you have to miss out on some things for 12 weeks, but it's only 12 weeks. It flies by like that, and it's so funny. Students always say that. They are, I can't believe it's the end of the 3 months, but seriously, it's 3 months. So sometimes you may have to miss an event. You may have to miss an outing, but if you're not doing what you need to do at home, it's not going to make sense in class. Therefore, you're not going to understand it. The teachers can see that. You won't be at a satisfactory level, and that may harm you graduating. So we want to make sure that you understand before even starting the program that you have to be disciplined and structured in order to be successful. If a student is completing those 8 to 10 hours a week outside of class and they're still not understanding that information, students are more than welcome to schedule a one-on-one appointment with the instructor. Scheduling that one-on-one appointment with the instructor or program manager is going to be really helpful. We do have small class sizes. However, sometimes people need that really small, just one-on-one meeting to help things really connect the information they know versus the hands-on. So they're really helpful. All you have to do is just contact your instructor or program manager with a time that works best for you, and then hopefully that instructor is available to meet up with you, or they don't have another class that they're teaching. But we do strive to make sure that you guys are successful and understand this information. So if you're doing what you need to at home and you're still not understanding it, we have those time slots available for you. We also have the opportunity for students to come in early to class, stay a little late after class, as well as utilize that lunchtime to receive some additional help or to ask questions. We here at Academy for Dental Assistants do not require students to have any immunizations or vaccination records. We also don't do a criminal background check. That is just because we believe that everybody should be entitled to an education. However, I do want students to be aware that when you get into your externship sites or you do find a job in the future, those things may be required of a dental office before you get hired or before you start at an externship office. So those are just important things to keep in mind when looking for those things. It's important to be prepared for the first day of class with all of the materials and supplies that you'll need. So let's go over what you should have before the start of class. You will want to make sure that you have the proper uniform. So the uniform is going to be closed-toed shoes. You will want to have navy blue medical scrubs, as well as a white or navy blue lab coat that can button or zip closed. Students are also required to have the Modern Dental Assisting textbook. You can find what edition we're currently using in the introduction section on the website. Students are also required to have the dental typodont with 32 teeth. They're required to have all of the handouts for the program, the dental instrument handout booklet, as well as pens and pencils. So students do have the option to purchase some of those on our website, such as the textbook, the typodont, the dental instrument handout booklet, and we also offer a binder. What that binder is it's going to include every handout that you need for the program. It's going to include some pens and pencils. Everything's going to come nice and organized with dividers, so that way you have everything that you pretty much need for the program in that binder, and it will be provided to you. Any student who decides to purchase any supplies off of our website, we do not, unfortunately, deliver to students or ship them. However, you will be able to schedule an appointment to come in and pick them up before the first day of class. It is important, like I said, that you have them before class because there's going to be certain things that you need to complete before coming in, such as textbook chapters, videos to watch, a homework assignment to complete, and just for the handouts for you to have to be able to review, so that way when we talk about it on that first day, you understand what we're going over. Showing up on time to your scheduled class days are really important. If you are in the daytime class, which is held on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, your class begins at 8:30 a.m. and goes all the way until 4 p.m. If you are in the nighttime class, that's held on Monday and Wednesday nights, your class is from 6 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. The normal office hours here at Academy for Dental Assistants are Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. You will need to make sure that if you are going to be late or miss a class, that you reach out directly to your instructors. You can call the school and the front office number to let them know. However, since our office staff isn't going to be here on weekends, nights, and doesn't come in until 9 a.m., it's very important that you contact your instructor directly first to let them know that you will be late or you will be missing class before the start of class. For nights and weekend classes, we do lock our doors right when class starts, just for the safety of our students and staff, which is another reason why it's important to text your instructors and let them know if you're going to be late, so that way they can go ahead and let you in, because we do have that door locked and they're in the classroom teaching. When your class starts at 8:30 a.m. or 6 p.m., you need to make sure that you are in the door and you've used the bathroom, you've set your lunch down, you've gotten all of your stuff out and ready to go by the start of class time. So if it starts at 8:30 a.m., I always tell students to get here at least 15 minutes prior to class starting, so that way you're not rushed to get out your stuff, you're not disrupting other students, you can use the restroom and really be prepared for when we start right when class starts. If you're walking in the door at 8:30, it's going to take you a while to come in, set your stuff down, gather your materials out, put your lunch away, use the bathroom, and at that point you're missing very important and valuable information, as well as disrupting the students and instructors. So please make sure that you take into account how far you drive, if there's going to be traffic, to make sure that you are here before the start of class time. Class ends at 4 p.m. and 9:30 p.m. depending on the class that you're registered for. It's important to keep in mind that just like in a real dental office, sometimes depending on how much information we review, the questions that are asked, or just the progress of our class that day, it may be a little past that normal ending period. So if you end at 4, maybe it'll be 4:05. If you end at 9:30, maybe it'll be 9:35. But we do try our best to stay on track and to make sure that we're going where we need to get you guys out on time. However, that is real world. Your last patient comes into the office at 4 o'clock. Your doctor wants to do same day treatment. You're probably not leaving your office until 5:30 because your patient leaves at 5. You have to clean, do sterilization, take out the trash, and things like that. So take into account that some days class may run a little bit over, but we do try our best to stay on track. At the end of the day, all students will work together to kind of clean up the mess that they had made throughout the day and the modules that we completed. Dental assistant procedures are usually kind of messy, so we do like to pick up the building before you leave, so that way when the next class comes in or when you guys come in next, it is nice looking, just like you would have it for patients. Each week we will assign a student a sterilization date. What that sterilization date is a student is going to come in 30 minutes early and stay 30 minutes after class to do the sterilization duties like a sterile tech would in a dental office. What that means is that they're going to set up the ultrasonic in the autoclave. They will check and make sure that anything in the cold sterile is done and ready and put away, that the computers are turned on for the x-ray rooms, and that everything is set up for when that assistant needs to pull back that first patient. And then same thing at the end of the day, they will make sure that everything is turned off, everything looks good, and each student once a week will come in to do that. Each student will have the opportunity to get a chance to see kind of what a sterile tech would do, or if your office doesn't have a sterile tech, they will get a chance to kind of partake in what the real life dental assistant will do on a day-to-day basis coming into a dental office. As far as our attendance policy goes, because we do not have any makeup days, it's important that students attend their scheduled class dates as listed on the class module dates list. The class dates that you are required to come in are very important. Once again, class starts at 8:30. You cannot be tardy. If you are 10 minutes or more late to class, that counts as a tardy. That can also be coming back late from lunch or coming in from the start of class late. If you decide to leave class early as well, you will be marked tardy. 2 tardies equal 1 absence. Students are allowed to miss 1 class just because we understand life happens, emergencies happen, things happen, but we do want to make sure our students try our best, because since there's no makeup days, the information that students miss by not coming to a class cannot be made up. There's not another class that they can attend that's reviewing the exact same material as they are. So if you miss 1 class, you are missing about 7 hours of lecturing and hands-on information that you will not get back. If students miss 2 days of class, they will be terminated from the 12-week program and no longer a student at Academy for Dental Assistants. We have this rule set in place because from our previous experience with students, with people who miss 2 full days of class, which is about 16 hours of new information, they seem to be behind, not understanding, because it is just too much information to miss to still feel as though you are on track and caught up and be at a satisfactory level of what you need to be to graduate the program. Once again, we do not do this to be mean. We do this from previous experience with students who have missed 2 classes, and it does really affect their academics. When you come into class each week, you will need to make sure that your phone is on silent and that it is put away in your backpack. Just like in a real world, in a dental office, you will not have your phone in your coat pocket, in your scrub pants, anything like that. It will be off and put away. You do not want to use your phone in front of a patient, and you do not want to use your phone in class. If you do have an emergency or something important going on, you can disclose that with the instructors and let them know that you have an emergency or you're waiting on a call, and they will allow you to leave your phone out, so that way if you do get a call or important message, you are able to step out of the classroom for a second to take care of that. However, if they do see your phone, they will ask you to put it away. If they have to ask you again, they will send you home for an unexcused absence. The course is broken into 4 sections throughout the 12 weeks. We do this because instead of having one big test at the very end of the program, we break them up into 4 smaller ones throughout the 12 weeks. So that first portion of your state board exam is going to be section 1. The second portion of your state board exam is going to be section 2, so on and so forth. So those 4 sections are going to pertain to the information that you need to know, understand, and perform for those section assessments, as well as the state board exam. We break the course down even further into modules. So the daytime classes will do 2 modules per day. One in the morning, they will have about a 30-minute lunch, and then one in the afternoon. The nighttime class will do 1 on Monday and a module on Wednesday. Students do receive a 30-minute lunch period in between the first and second module of the daytime classes. The nighttime classes, unfortunately, because they are smaller time frame of classes per day, you guys do not get a break, But like I said, with the daytime classes, you will get a 30-minute lunch, and it's no specific time. It's just whenever we finish the first module of the day. It's usually around 12 to 12:30. It is 30 minutes. You are more than welcome to leave and pick up food, bring food, and heat it up here. We do have a fridge, a freezer, a microwave, and a toaster oven for you to be able to heat up your food. Or you are more than welcome to just utilize that 30 minutes of time however you would like to leave the building, stay here and study, whatever you need to do. It's very important that students utilize the course outline. The course outline can be found in the introduction section as well as the handout section on the website. This course outline is going to lay out everything that students need to complete and know, as well as what we're gonna do in all 4 sections throughout the 12-week program. It will also break down what students need to do before each module. So for example, it will have the videos and textbook chapter readings students are to complete before class. It will have the homework assignments that will be due when students come into class, and it will also list the clinicals that will be done in class. So for the first day of class, our daytime classes will be completing 2 modules per day, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. So they will look at the course outline and look at the first 2 columns that explain what needs to be done as far as videos that need to be watched and textbook chapters that need to be read. And then that second column will list the homework that is going to be due when students come into class. And then they can also look at that third column to let them know what will be reviewed when they do come into class. For the Monday, Wednesday night class, your first night will be module 1, so you can look at that one, and then your second night will be module 2. The course outline will also list specific due dates for things that you will need to submit online, like quizzes, state board exams, and when in-class clinical assessments will be. At the end of each section of the course, so we have 4 sections, at the end of each section, you will have a in-class clinical assessment that will be performed when you come into class, and you will also have an online state board exam that will be completed online on our website. I will go into more detail and depth about that here in a couple of minutes, but this course outline is like your guideline throughout this whole thing to really help you stay on track for what's due, what's expected of you, and what to know before you come in. Some of the homework assignments that you will have to complete is to watch videos on YouTube and Evolve. The YouTube videos are your instructors that are pretty much doing a step-by-step explanation of the procedures that we will review in class and perform in class for you to be exposed to that before you come in. It is recommended that students watch them a couple of times before they come in, so that way they kind of have an understanding and have seen it before. It's not optional to watch these videos. So if you do not watch the videos and you come into class, sometimes those videos are not played in class. And sometimes we don't have enough time throughout that one day to go into such great detail about the step-by-step explanation of it, which is why that lecturing portion is done at home and those videos are required for you to be watched. So that way you are not missing that information. You are still getting a full, detailed, step-by-step tutorial. And when you come into class, you are still get a tutorial. It just may not be as in-depth. And then you will actually practice and attempt it yourself. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is called Academy for Dental Assistants. On there, we do have a playlist called the 12-Week Dental Assistant Training Program Module Playlist. That is going to have specific playlists broken down for the modules that we will be doing in each class. So there's a module 1 and 2 playlist, a module 3 and 4 playlist, a 5 and 6 playlist, so on and so forth. So that way you can just click that specific playlist and watch all those videos that you need to before you come in. Evolve is also the online resources for the textbook that you will have homework assignments and videos to watch for homework before you come into class. If you get a brand new textbook, there will be a code on the inside cover that you can scratch off like a lottery ticket and insert that code into evolve.com, and you will be able to get those textbook resources for free. If you don't, you will have to go on their website and purchase it, so that way you can have access to those videos as well as the interactive dental office. Those videos are very important to watch as well because they do come directly from your textbook for specific tutorials for things that we are going to perform in class and that we need you to understand. You can find the step-by-step directions to register for Evolve on the introduction section in the website, and it can also be found on the inside front cover of your textbook. In order for Evolve to work, you must allow pop-up blockers on your computer because one of the things that is called Interactive Dental Office that you have for homework is a pop-up. So you need to make sure that you allow for that in order for it to work. Sometimes Evolve does have issues, so it is best to make sure you use an incognito window, which is pretty much a private browser. We tend to find that Google Chrome works the best when using Evolve, as well as our website. And you want to make sure that if you are having any issues, it could be the virus protection on your computer. It may also be that you do not have pop-up blockers allowed. If it is more than that, I highly recommend you contact Evolve directly, as it is their website and not ours, and they may be able to troubleshoot that issue for you. For students who are on the payment plan agreement, so that is somebody who did the deposit for the program and did not choose the payment in full or the payoff before the first day of class option. Your payments are due every time you have class starting on the first day of class. Those payment prices can be found on your payment plan agreement that you signed when you initially registered for the program. So you will need to make sure that you are following those payment dates and making those purchases on the amount that you need to. There are two ways that you can make your payments for the program. One of them is through the website. So you can go onto your account and log in, select the payments page, and you will see the option to do the 12-week weekly payment. You will add that to your cart. It will add a credit card fee, and then you will add in your credit or debit card there to submit your payment. We also do billing every Friday. What that means is our accounting software will send you your updated account balance every Friday. You do have the option to make your payment that way. It does use your bank ACH, which is your routing and account number. Per the payment plan agreement, if you fall one payment behind, you will get a financial probation notice. What that is stating is that you are a payment behind and you need to make two in order to catch up. One for the week that you missed and one for the current week. If you end up falling two or more payments behind, you will receive a financial termination notice, which means that if you do not pay X amount by X date, then you will be terminated from the program. Very important to make sure that you stay on track of your payments. You can always contact the front desk or the office manager for any financial questions that you have, like your updated account balance, if you are having a financial situation and you need to talk about your payments, or anything that may go on, the office manager is who you need to contact. Now let's jump in navigating the website. So what you're gonna do is you're going to go to academy4da.com to log into your student portal. What you will do is in the top right-hand corner, you will select log in and you will type in your username or your email as well as the password that you created while registering to log in. It is important that you write down this information because you have, I think, 3 attempts to enter in your information properly to get into the website before you get locked out. So we do not want that to happen. We can reset that information for you here if needed, but obviously sometimes it's not office hours or it's the weekend when you get locked out. So please make sure you have this information handy. When you log into the account, you will select all courses and then the 12-week entry-level dental assistant training program, and then you will select start course. Once you get into the introduction section of the website, the first part is going to inform you about the forms that you need to submit to the school within the first 3 business days of registering in order to keep your seat in the program. Those forms that you're gonna need to submit to the school is going to be your enrollment paperwork. So what that is the school is going to email you through an electronic Adobe PDF, those enrollment forms that you can electronically sign, and then it will automatically get sent back to the school once you have completed all of it. You will also need to sign the payment plan agreement if you are somebody who is on the payment plan. You will need to submit a copy of your photo ID to the school, as well as your high school diploma, GED, or college transcripts. If you are somebody who does not have a diploma that is in English or from the United States, you will need to make sure that you contact the front desk on how to set up for you to take our entrance test. It is a super quick, easy test that takes you maybe 20 minutes. It has a brief reading, writing, and math portion, and you will just do that in replace of your diploma. If you are somebody who does have your diploma, you can once again just email that or fax it to the school. You will also need to show proof of professional liability insurance. If you click on that tab, it will have the hyperlink for the step-by-step directions on how to purchase that. What that is it's an insurance that will protect you while you're in school and in your externship. It's different than healthcare coverage, so what this is gonna do is protect you in case anybody tried to sue you for anything. Luckily, we have never had anybody who has had to use this throughout the program or throughout their externship. However, we would rather you be safe than sorry and pay the one-time fee and protect yourself. Next, it will take you to the student orientation information, and then it will take you to the student's responsibility. What that's going to do is talk about the supplies that you need as well as your uniform for the program. It's also going to go into depth about what you need to have for the course. What I mean by that is making sure that you have computer and internet access as well as a correct email address. We will have you print a lot of handouts that you are going to use thoroughly throughout the program. And then we will also need to make sure that you are receiving the emails. We send a lot of notifications. Maybe it's an updated form. If there's a storm and we happen to have to cancel class, if something goes on, we do communicate a lot via email as well as text. But more of our important things that are a little bit longer do get sent via email. So it's most important that you do have that internet access to check your email as well as to log on the website. Once you have gone through the student responsibility portion, it will take you through Evolve. Those are the step-by-step directions to register that you can click on the hyperlink or follow the steps that are listed to register for an account. Then it will take you to information on the course outline and a little bit of a breakdown of information, which I already explained to you. So that's good to just read it as a refresher if you want a reminder on how that outline works. You will see at the very bottom that there is an option to select next unit. You always want to make sure that you scroll to the bottom of each page and select that. You will not be able to just go off to the right-hand side where all the categories are at and select there. We do this so that way we ensure that all students have read through and understood the information in that section before they move on. So once you click that and move on, it will take you to the handout section.
When you're on the Handouts page, the first thing that it will take you to is our YouTube channel. You can click this hyperlink here, which will directly take you to our YouTube channel. You want to make sure that you subscribe to our channel as there are videos that come for homework that you are required to watch. When you're on the home page, you will see that there is the 12-week Dental Assistant Training Program modules playlist, and these are where you'll get your videos to watch that are listed on the course outline. We do have those videos all broken down by modules. So for the first day of class, you'll want to click the Mod 1-2 playlist, since that is everything that's going to be pertaining to the first week of class, and watch those before the first day. Before the second week, you'll want to watch the ones a part of 3 and 4, the following week 5 and 6, so on and so forth. So definitely make sure that you subscribe so that way you can watch the videos. They are videos of the instructors going over procedures, assembling RINs, things like that pertaining to what you will do in class that week. Sometimes we don't have the full time to be able to watch all of the required videos in class, as we are trying to save that time for hands-on time mostly. So definitely make sure that you guys are watching these before you come to class each week, or else you may feel lost while you are in class. Next on the handouts page is going to be the audio charting assignments that students will use for homework. This does not include the audio charting assignments that are listed for assessment days, which are modules 5, 11, 15, and 21. I'll show you guys later, but you'll be able to find those audio chartings in the specific section that you are on. When you guys look at your homework handouts, it will say audio charting number 5, number 6, number 7, and that's where you'll get these from this handout page here. You can follow the directions that are listed here, and you can click on the audio charting.
Number 1 and 16
16 are missing, and pause it and chart it on your homework sheet. Play it, pause it, whatever you need to do to complete it. I recommend as you guys get started with the audio chartings, definitely have out as many handouts as you need. Make sure that you guys are utilizing that to help you learn how to do charting. But as you progress through the program, see how long you can go without pausing it. Obviously still check yourself with those handouts and confirm, but this is not used as a test. This is just part of the homework and to make sure that you're understanding call out charting like what a dentist will do in an office. They will call out things that need to be done or that have already been done, and they will expect you to chart that, whether that be on a computer or on paper. So this is a good way to help you do that as well. On the handouts page, it will also tell you when each audio charting is due. So you can always double check to make sure that you are submitting the correct audio charting for homework. A lot of students do submit the wrong one sometimes. So just make sure that you are double checking the audio charting number that reflects on your homework handout and the module that is due for the module that you are completing in class. The next information here is going to just talk about the handouts page. Students are able to print out every handout that they need from this page here, or they can do the 12-week print all binder. So what this binder is something that we have curated that includes a binder, a pencil pouch, erasers, pens, red and blue pencils, and every handout you needed, organized, binded, all in color, divided by handouts to keep students very organized throughout the program without them needing to print anything. Keep in mind this does not include the dental instrument and tray setup booklet that is separate for students to be able to print on their own or to be able to purchase, which I will show you guys here in a second. But this is an option for students that don't want to deal with the printing, don't have one, or would just prefer to purchase it with the spiral and has everything there for you. This is always an option as well. Just make sure that you're logged into your account. Select the Add to Cart/Payments tab, and you'll be able to add that with any additional supplies that you may need. On here, this is once again just talking about the specific handouts that you're going to need to have printed for class and when you should have them. There are some that are going to say print next to it and some that say review. If it says print next to it, students are required to print that and bring it to class on the specific modules. If it says review, students are have the option to print it or download it for review or just review it online. So it's totally up to them, but it is not required to be printed. Down here is where you can find all of the hyperlinks to print the forms that are required. These first three here in the blue, this is where you can print the full course outline. In the middle is where you can print the dental instrument and tray setup booklet. Like I said earlier, you do have the option to print this on your own. It is 41 pages though, and it does need to be printed in color. So we do offer this on the website for students to be able to purchase, or they are more than welcome to print this on their own. Once again, just make sure that it is printed in color. And here's where students can find the blank charting sheets that are going to be required for the course. The first page is going to show the ones that you guys are going to use on assessment days, and the remainder ones are ones that you will be able to use in class for practice when we go over them. This red option here is where students can print every required handout that's needed besides the dental instrument and handout booklet. If you print this and you select print, it will print every single required handout. Once again, required. So some of the things that are not required but are optional to print will be included in the 12-week print all binder, like additional handouts, the printouts of the state board exams, printout of quiz questions that are due online, whereas that's not going to be included in the print all option because those aren't required to be printed, although they are very helpful to students and we do recommend them to be printed. They are not required. So students are more than welcome to click this button and hit print, and this will print every required handout that they need for the entire 12-week program. If students decide that they want to print the handouts individually, so for example, the first week of class, we go over modules 1 and 2. So you can click this drop down here and print all of the required handouts for module 1 and then do the same thing for 2. The following week, you can do module 3 and 4, the next week 5 and 6, so on and so forth. When you click each drop down, you'll see some of them say print in color, some of them will say regular print, and some of them will say review. Remember, the review are not required to be printed, although you do have to review them, you don't have to print them. If it says to print in color, that means that this handout has to be printed in color. A lot of times it has to deal with charting. And then if you ever see that there's a textbook page number listed to a handout, that's meaning you can find the corresponding information that is on that handout in your textbook on that page as well. So you always have that option to review it. When you get to Module 5, which is the first section assessment and the first state board exam, you will see on the Module 5 drop-down, you can print the paper copy of the Section 1 State Board exam. We do recommend for students to print this out before the first day of class, so that way they can begin working on it when they begin reading the textbook chapters for homework. The answers to the State Board exam come directly from the textbook pages that you are required to read on the course outline for homework. So if you are able to have this paper version of the exact State Board exam out in front of you while you are reading those chapters for homework, you can kill two birds with one stone and be able to complete a little bit of that State Board exam at a time. The first two sections are 200 questions each, and the last two sections of the program are 100 questions each. So if you leave it till the very end to do, it will kind of set you back versus doing a little bit at a time, using those time management skills, completing a little bit as you go and read through those chapters and answering them as you find them in the book. So you can print this from here. You can also find the student answer sheets here for the assessments. Section 1 has a student answer sheet. Sections 2, 3, and 4 do have a grading rubric that students will be required to print. So anything that you need for the assessments or State Board exams can be found in the specific modules that assessment or State Board exam is held. So 5, 11, 15, as well as 21. However, the section underneath of it does have all of that as well. It will have the printable version of the State Board exam, as well as the answer sheet or grading rubric that is required for that section's in-class assessment. So you do have this option to print it here as well. Underneath, we do have dental-related Jeopardy games. These are fun games that we have kind of curated that make studying a little bit more engaging. So the directions are here. Just select the drop-down and it will kind of give you a brief synopsis of what each game will be about. The ones that we have here, you can just, select the hyperlink, follow the directions, and play at any point throughout the program. They are a really great studying tool, and a lot of people have found these very, very helpful for helping them pass quizzes or assessments. So I definitely recommend this. They're fun, they're interactive, and if you're not somebody who can just continue to read words on a paper and retain it, this is a great option for you. At the bottom is where you will find all the externship information and forms. This information is also available in section 3 of the program or of the course online. We will be reviewing this information once we complete section 2 of the course, which is when we have students begin looking for externships. But you can find the externship video here that is linked to our YouTube channel, Externship Information. The consent to begin externship form can be found on here. Documents that you are going to be required to bring to an externship site, as well as externship follow-up forms here. So once again, you can find all of the externship forms on the handouts page as well as section 3. After the handouts page, it will take you to the student orientation information. This page here will kind of explain to watch this video, which is the orientation video, and then you will complete the student orientation assignment before the first day of class. This is a 20-question multiple choice assignment. You do have as many tries to pass this. There is no specific requirement. However, you do want to make sure that you understand the material. So the video is linked here, and then you can select next quiz, which will take you to the part where you can input your answers in. It will have some directions, but this is the page that it will take you to once you're completed. You'll be able to click here and check results. And if you wanted to retake the quiz, you are able to select retake quiz up on the top left to be able to submit it again.
So once you hit next unit, it will take you into section 1. This will have a lot of the information, videos, and breakdowns of everything for you. This will tell you the specific textbook chapters that are going to be reviewed in Section 1. Remember, Section 1 is the first portion of information for your online state board exam. So it is important that you are taking notes while you're reading those textbook chapters for homework, taking notes while you're watching the videos assigned for homework off of our YouTube channel or Evolve, and making sure that you are really keeping track and understanding this information. Towards the bottom of the page, you will see a couple of boxes that are in black that are broken down into Module 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. If you click those, you will see that it does have attached some of the YouTube videos that you will be required to watch and some of the handouts that we ask that you have printed and reviewed as far as Section 1 goes. But it is good to have this here so that way while you're reviewing the material for Section 1, you have that information readily available to you. Once you read the information that's listed in Section 1, you will scroll to the bottom and select Next Unit, and it will take you to the Section 1 audio charting. What this Section 1 audio charting is that it's just like the audio charting that's on the handout section that will be listed on your homework handouts, except this one will go with your in-class clinical hands-on assessment. You will find out how to do this because it will be listed on your homework handout. So for example, Module 5 is when your Section 1 online state board exam is due and when your in-class clinical assessment will be. So for your Module 5 homework that is due on that day, you will see that for the audio charting, it will say Section 1 assessment audio charting. This is where you will find that specific audio charting, not on the handouts page of the website. This will follow the same idea as the audio charting that is in the introduction section. You will press play and listen to the audio charting as many times as you need to, pause it and restart it as many times as you need to. You will chart it on your homework handout just like the other ones and submit it with your homework, except this will go as part of your clinical assessment grade. Once you have completed the audio charting and you select Next Unit, it will take you to your Section 1 online state board exam. Once you get to this page, it will explain every single piece of information you need to know. Once you hit Start Quiz, you will not be able to go back out of that pretty much online forum where you're going to submit your answers. So once you hit Start Quiz, you will have to then plug in every single test answer for the questions and submit it while you're on it. You do not have the option to go in it and out of it, in it and out of it. Once you're in it, you have to fully stay in it and submit your quiz. As far as these state board exams go, your Section 1 online state board exam is going to be in Module 5. Your Section 2 state board exam is going to be due in Module 11. Your Section 3 is going to be due in Module 15. And then your Section 4 is going to be due on Module 21. So please do not wait until last minute to submit or start working on these tests, as they are quite lengthy. And they are your state board exam. These are not things that you can fail, which is why we leave them open book. While you're reading your textbook chapters for homework, you could have that online state board exam printout directly in front of you, because that's where all of the answers come from, is those specific textbook chapters that we assign for homework. So while you're reading your textbook, have that test out, answer those questions, so that way you're doing a little bit at a time throughout that section, and you're making sure that the answers are correct because it's pretty much open book. So that way when you go to actually plug your answers in online on the website, you already have all of them answered and you know that they're correct and you're confident in them because you got them directly from the textbook. Once again, these will be due on your assessment day. You know all of the due dates before they're pretty much coming up. So on the first day of class, you know every single due date that you have for everything for the entire 12-week program on that course outline before you start. So making sure that you have a calendar or an agenda or something like that, that you can keep track of things that are due, when they're due, and when you need to be working on them is going to be very helpful. Once again, do not click Start Quiz until you are ready to actually sit down and take the quiz and plug in all of your answers or answer them and submit it. So you're going to click Start Quiz and then confirm that you want to start the quiz. Give it a couple seconds to load and it will take you into the quiz itself. So there's 5 questions per page, and you will go through various pages on the actual test forum. Once you get through every single page and you answer all of your questions, you will see that there is a portion that says Submit Quiz. Next to that, you will see that it says Save for Later. You never want to select Save for Later. There has been a lot of issues that students have had when they select Save for Later, which pretty much saves your answers and allows you to go out of that test and back into it. It may save your answers, but when you go to actually submit it on our website, it usually causes a lot of issues with the submission of it and will not fully submit your quiz and will give you a 0 for it. And these are the state board exams that go directly to the state of Florida. So I highly recommend that you do not click Save for Later and you plug in all of your answers, double check them, and then select Submit Quiz. Once you hit Submit Quiz, it will confirm that you want to submit the quiz, and then you will see a little circle that shows that it is loading. While you are on this page, please do not go out of it, refresh it, shut down your computer. Let it think. It is not fully submitted until you get the page that has your results on it. So if you close your laptop, you go into another web browser, you hit refresh, it is not going to submit your quiz, and once again, you will get a 0. So allow it to think. It should only take a couple of minutes as it's grading your quiz, and then you will automatically get to see your test results. For your online state board exams, you are required to get a minimum of 75% or better in order to pass them. However, because this test is pretty much open book and you have from the first day of class to begin working on them as well as entire section to be completing them, there's no reason why anybody should get below an A. And that's just because it is open book and you have so much time to complete it and ask questions and double check your answers with the textbook that it is pretty much something you don't want to fail and something that you want to take seriously, because once again, this goes directly to the state. You will only have one chance to submit this. So it's not like if you get a non-passing score, say you get a 70% when the passing score is a 75%, you do not have the option to retake it for a better grade or fix the answers that you didn't get correct. Whatever you submit is what you get. So you have to make sure that you're taking your time, double, triple checking your answers before you submit them, reading your questions very carefully. Like I said, having that printout version of the test is very helpful because it has the exact order of how those questions are going to be asked as well as the answers. So when you plug them in, all you have to do is just verify and double check that you're putting it in right, and it takes you a lot less time. And then it's also another way for you to verify your test answers. If you do not get a 75% or better, or you do run into website issues, you need to make sure that you call the front office and speak to our office manager. Our office manager is going to be the one who can help you with those problems. Please keep in mind, if you are calling on a weekend or you are calling at night before your class starts, we do not have office staff here to be able to help you, which is another reason why it's important not to wait until last minute to start taking these. Once you submit your quiz and it fully loads, you will see the option to check results. You will be able to see ones that you got right as well as ones that you got wrong. It will not show you which answer is correct if you did get a wrong answer. It will just tell you which one that you got wrong. Once you check your results and you're ready to move on, you will also see a portion that has the information of what you need to do if you did not receive a passing score and things that you should study and prepare for your Section 1 hands-on assessment. You will also see an option for next unit. That's another way that you can confirm that you received a passing score, which is 75% or better on your online state board exam. Your state board exams will be required to be submitted online on the website before the assessment day. So once again, Module 5 is when your Section 1 assessment is. So before you come to class on Module 5, which is your third week, you will need to make sure that you have submitted your online state board exam. And when you come into class that day, it is going to be your Section 1 clinical hands-on assessment. Each assessment is going to have various different tasks and procedures or things like that to complete. We do have grading rubrics that you will be required to print on the website in the specific modules that that assessment is going to be held. So for example, module 5, you do not have a grading rubric, but you will have an answer sheet that you need to have printed and brought to class. For section 2, you do have a grading rubric, so you will go into the module 11 dropdown on the handouts page and make sure that you have that printed before you come to class. Same thing for section 3 and 4. You will go into module 11 as well as 15 and 21 to be sure that you print those grading rubrics before class that day. So that way when you come in to take your clinical hands-on assessment, you have the grading rubric so you can see how you're going to be graded, things that are going to be completed in that assessment, and can prepare properly. If you happen to miss an in-class clinical assessment, say you do not come that day, an emergency happens, something goes on, and you do not attend it, you will be required to pay a $75 cash fee in order to make up that assessment. We require this because students who miss, an instructor has to come in on their day off, which they normally work other jobs. So they have to come in on their day off and call off of work there in order to re-administer this exam or this test to you. So it's very important that you show up on assessment day, but if you don't, it's a $75 cash fee and you will come in and make up that assessment, quiz, whatever it may be. Once you move on to the next section in the website, you will see it's broken down the exact same way. So after you submit your section 1 state board exam on the website and you select next unit, it will take you to section 2. There will be a bunch of information there for you to read and understand. You will see specific modules that you can click that has handouts or videos linked to it that are important for those specific modules. And at the bottom, you will see next unit. It will take you to your section 2 audio charting. And after that, it will take you to your section 2 online state board exam. The same setup follows for section 3 as well as section 4. In the program, we have something that's called a remediation notice. What that is pretty much a performance review. Students will receive these if they do not receive a passing score on an assessment, on a quiz, or if an instructor notices that the student is struggling with any of the hands-on procedures that they're learning in the program. This remediation notice will give the student additional homework based on what the student is not quite understanding or did not pass. And then it will also have the student come in before or after their next class to either retake that quiz or assessment or to have a one-on-one appointment with the instructor to help them understand the information that maybe they're not getting so well. Some reasons why a student could be terminated from the program is if they fall 2 or more payments behind on their payment plan agreement, if they miss 2 classes, and that can also fall under you missed 1 class and was tardy twice, or you were tardy to class 4 times, because remember, 2 tardies equals an absence, and you cannot have more than 1 absence in the program. So making sure that you're on time to class and on time with your payments is really important. Another reason why a student could be terminated from the program is if the instructors or the director do not feel as though the student is at a satisfactory level with the hands-on portion of the program, or just understanding the information that is being relayed to the student. We do not want to make anybody go into the field or into their externships if they're not at a satisfactory level. We feel as though it's unethical, so what we'll do is we'll schedule you some time to stay after class or to come into extra classes for some help, because we want our students to be successful, but we do not want to put you into a field where we feel as though you may struggle. We want to make sure that your skills are up to par and where they need to be in order to be successful in an externship. So we're going to do whatever we can to work with you to help you get to that level. If a student does happen to get terminated from the program, none of the money or grades or anything like that will transfer over. So if a student is terminated, they are more than welcome to register for the next set of classes that works best for their schedule. But it will pretty much be like they're a brand new student. You will not be able to submit homework that's already been completed. None of the money that you have already paid as far as the payment plan will be able to be transferred over, and you will not be able to continue with the test grades and scores that you have from the previous class to the new class. Students have a maximum of 6 months from the last day of class to complete their externship. And we usually recommend for students to start sending out their resume and applying for those externships after section 2 in the program, which is about halfway through. At that point, the student has enough knowledge and information in order to be helpful at a dental office and understand what's going on. But students are more than welcome to start at any point once the program starts, but we strongly urge students to wait until about the end of section 2. So once again, they have that information and understanding down of dental assisting procedures, tray setups, OSHA, HIPAA, x-rays, things like that. Here at Academy for Dental Assistants, we do not do placement for externships. So what that means is with our students, we're not going to say, okay, you're externing at this office, you're here, you're there. Mainly because we have a lot of students travel from all throughout the state of Florida. So we want the student to be somewhere that's close to them. The whole point of the externship is to gain experience and knowledge, but also hopefully get a job at that office at the end. So we want the students to be able to pick an office that's close to their home and fits best with their personalities and schedule, and not just put them somewhere where they may be unhappy. Although we do not do placement for externships, we do work with students with their cover letters and resumes. We also have all of those handouts and information for students to be able to print off of the Handouts page to bring the adequate paperwork to an externship interview. We will work on interviewing skills with them, and we also have a job and opportunity board on our website. So if you're logged into your account, up on the top right-hand corner, you will see opportunities available. If you click that, you will see that there are a bunch of externship opportunities. Your externship does not have to be completed at one of these offices that are listed on here, but your office does have to be a general dental office. You cannot extern at a specialty office like pediatrics, orthodontics, oral surgery. It has to be a general dental office. However, when you complete your externship in the program, you will be able to branch off into any field of dentistry that you want. Once again, this is something that I want students to keep in mind, that when you do go apply for dental offices and externships, they may do background checks, they may do criminal history checks. You also may be required to have certain vaccinations and certain immunizations at an office. I don't know a whole lot about the specific requirements because each dental office can require their employees or externs to have specific things. And unfortunately, we here do not have control of that. But that is also why we like the student to be able to pick where they want to go so they can pick somewhere that fits best with them, their beliefs, as well as their schedule. For students who have trouble finding an externship, they're more than welcome to reach out to their instructors or program manager to help them out. However, there are over 17,000 dentists here in the state of Florida, and then there are also a lot of dental assistants that are with each dentist. So you have to think one dentist probably has anywhere from 2 to 3 dental assistants with them. So there is a huge demand for dental assistants now more than ever. We also have affiliation agreements with a lot of dental offices throughout the state of Florida, like Greenberg Dental, Coast Dental, Aspen Dental, Heartland Dental, where we have an agreement that if they have availability for an extern, they will take our students on. So that is always an option for students to utilize as well to help them find placement for an externship. If you want some additional information on externships, we do have a video on our YouTube channel as well as on the Handouts page that you can watch that will go into great detail about all of that, but your instructors will also explain that here in the program once you get to the point. Upon completion of the program and your externship, you will receive 2 dental assistant certifications. One of them is going to be your Expanded Functions Dental Assistant Certification, also known as your EFDA. And then the second one that you're going to receive is your Dental Radiology Certification. These 2 certifications, once you receive them, are good for life in the state of Florida. You don't ever have to retest, repay. There's no continuing education that you have to do. And to finish this off, I just want to welcome you guys here as a student at Academy for Dental Assistants. We're so happy to have you, and we really cannot wait to watch you go into this field and become a great dental assistant. But if you do have any questions about any homework assignments or tests or quizzes or test questions, please be sure to reach out to the program manager, me, or your instructors. And if you have any issues with the website or any payment questions or issues, please make sure that you reach out to the front desk and she will be able to answer those questions for you.